Yeah, sorry. I was just double checking some things. So I then declare the meeting opened. It's already a bit past 11, and I have not heard from the German delegates we are missing. I just sent back the agenda into the chat, and I take the occasion to thank you all for coming. The objective behind this meeting was to amend a specific article of our statutes in order to achieve compliance with Luxembourgish authorities. In the meantime, several statute amendments have been submitted by the German delegates, prompting the organization and new council members to discuss some impactful, I might say, aspects of our organization and how we want to organize ourselves. I'm thinking more specifically about the second chamber proposal, but also the council chairperson proposal. So we will touch on them a bit later. And I suggest we proceed with the election of the meeting chair and the minutes takers before we examine the agenda. About chairing the meeting, I, Florian, chairperson of the board, would be a candidate on the grounds that I have extensively prepared this council meeting, and I will be able to steward the agenda, hopefully, the best possible way. Does someone else would like to volunteer for chairing the meeting? Okay, I consider this to not be the case, and then we will proceed to formal confirmation. This will also be the occasion for all of us to rehearse how we will vote in this assembly. The way we proceed is the delegates cast their votes in a voting thread on the forum. So I am right now opening the vote by creating the thread. Give me a second. And I am pasting the link now into the chat. So for the delegates who are bearing the votes of their member, simply write a reply in which you cast your vote. As a reminder, some members, I'm thinking specifically of the Czech Pirates or the Young Pirates, have more than one vote. And you can decide how to split and cast each of these individually.
So I might have missed something here, but how do we know which question we're voting on? Or which motion?
So in the voting thread, the first thing you should see is the
Ah,
proposal.
yeah,
And
right, in the
you know the
headline.
proposal?
Yeah.
Yes, in the headline, yes.
Uh, yeah, that
So
makes sense.
during the votes, we will also
I
recap
see.
what is being voted on. So it should be clear and you will be able to double check because mistake can happen. If you feel a bit lost or if you need some help, now would be a good time because this is the occasion for all of us to get used to how we vote. Don't hesitate to ask a question or raise your hands.
Okay, so to vote, you just have to send a message.
Yes, exactly. You send a reply to the thread by stating which party you represent. It makes the tracking easier, and also the detail of the vote you are casting. One vote yes, one vote no, or you can also state that you are abstaining.
Okay, one sec.
Okay, so I can see your message, Sandra, no problem.
What did you say?
Yeah, I can see your message.
Oh, great.
Just to note, some of you might not see your messages appearing directly because you will be flagged by the system. But this is not a problem
It might be because I
because,
haven't had my account for too long.
yeah, exactly. But it's not a problem because we can update all of this, which is also why these rehearsals are useful. Okay, very well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we should have everyone, save for the German delegates. So I am then closing the votes and I am unanimously appointed as chair of the meeting. The next point of order is then the minute takers. And based on the rules of procedure of the council, I will, as chairperson of the meeting, appoint Marietta to be the official minute taker of the meeting. I know that some other people, for example, Alessandro, will help out, and thank you for that. The next point of order then is the approval of the agenda. To make sure we are all on the same page, I'm sending the link to the agenda again. And please raise your hand if you would like to bring forward a question or suggestion for a change. Okay, given the silence, I will consider that we can proceed with a formal approval. At any point, if I'm going too fast, don't hesitate to raise your hand and shout. And the voting thread is ready. I am sending it now into the chat. Okay, on the agenda, I can see that the Czech Pirates vote is missing. And likewise for our Slovakian Pirates. If you are facing a problem, please let us know. Okay, thank you very much. And all votes are now in favor, accounted for, and the agenda is approved anonymously. I am closing the thread, and we may proceed further. The next point of order is a membership request as observer member from the minority list of Austria, also known as the Danube Federation. Then we have the pleasure of having a representative from the Danube Federation in the person of Jan Spiekermann. Jan, are you still present, and would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, of course. Hello, can you all hear me well?
Yes, all good.
Great. Well, I'm a board member of the Minderheitenliste Österreich-Donau-Föderation, and the idea behind our party is that in Austria, on the one hand, political party with political satire is missing now because we had the Beer Party of Austria and they were very successful in the last presidential election. They even finished the third place. But last year they dissolved, they stopped all their political activities. And we think that there is large potential in Austria for a party similar to the Hungarian two-tailed dog party, for example, which served as an important source of inspiration for us. And on the other side, I personally have some background in regionalist and minority politics. Like I'm, for example, a lifetime member of Maybe on Kerno, which is the regionalist party in Cornwall, United Kingdom, which has made some important successes in moving forward with Cornwall to reaching a status similar to Scotland. And yeah, we want to connect these two things, these two different directions in one party, minority party, as Austria is in fact a multi-ethnic state due to its past, its rich history, but that, except from the Slovenes in Carinthia, is also not yet really represented in Austrian politics. And the roots of our party is indeed in the micronational community. Some of you might come from countries where the topic micronation is familiar. Some of you might not. Well, for example, in France, it has a rich tradition, like in the Montmartre, in Paris, there is the République du Montmartre, which is an important cultural organization there. They organize a lot of cultural activities, or the République Libre du Sauget, centered around Montbenoît in the Jurançon. Sorry, my French, but yeah, these exist for decades, like République du Montmartre for over 100 years now. République Libre du Sauget for over half a century now, or Freetown Christiania in Copenhagen, that might be more familiar. And this micronations exist all over the world, many very different approaches, but there are connections between these micronations, like diplomacy, so to say, joint events, exchange, and yeah, we are rooted in a micronation called Dictionary, and we also have a cultural association in Austria, the Ökologische Gesellschaft, and yeah, of course, there is some inspiration from ecology, but it's yeah a cultural organization, and what is interesting about this micronation thing that it somehow questions this whole thing of nationhood and is by bringing together people from many different cultural backgrounds and creating new identities. Yeah, Florian, you're welcome.
Yeah, so I might have one preliminary questions. How do you see your membership in the European Party, and why did you want to join? Is it in view of the elections, or yeah, let us know.
Yes, we want to make this serious and participate in elections. The first step would be to participate in local elections, and the plan would be to reach out to the Austrian Pirate Party and to the remnants of the Austrian Pirate Party and try to build an alliance on the local level. We just established a state branch now in Styria, and there our representative has some relations with the local branch of the Austrian communists there. And there was in past European elections some years ago an alliance between the Austrian pirates, the communists, and a localist left-wing group from Vienna. And an idea would be to get together with other progressive groups.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now I would open the floor to some late questions about the membership. If you have something to ask to Jan, please raise your hand. Okay, I suppose this was very clear. Also, thanks to everything you submitted before the meeting to allow everyone to review. Is everyone comfortable with proceeding to the formal vote? Or is there any late question or remark? Okay, I will take it as a sign that we can proceed. So give me a few seconds to double check the vote I prepared. As a point of notice for this vote, because it is about a membership, the required amount of vote is 2/3 of the votes cast. Unlike before when we were working with simple majorities. So the vote is ready and sent to the chat. Okay, every vote is in now, and it is anonymous, save for one abstention. So a warm welcome to our Austrian friends. Congrats.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to work with you. Thank you.
Okay, I'm closing the threads. And the next point of order is a big one because it is about numerous statutory amendments. But because of the quorum rules, we will not be able to examine any of the amendments. What will happen is that following our statutes, because we have not reached the quorum now, we are obligated to call a new council meeting without a quorum to examine these points. I am sending in the chat the applicable section of the statutes, which come from Luxembourgish law. So yeah, we will have to decide on when to call this next meeting, but it cannot happen in less than 15 days. We will make sure that everyone is properly made aware so you can all participate. Mab?
One option is that we postpone it to the end of the meeting and we go with all other points. And then we hope that those parties, either we hope or people reach out to them to see if they can join during the meeting so that it will be there in time for deciding on those points. There's other points where we don't need a quorum. We could deal with those first.
Yes, that could be one way to proceed. Currently, we have 15 members, so we will need to have 11 voting members to be present. We have 9 members registered for this meeting, of which 8 are present. So we will need the German pirates to come back and 2 other members to join in. But for sure, we could decide to postpone these points until the end of the meeting. What I would do is submit a motion on behalf of the board to push them back towards the end of the meeting so we can re-examine them if the situation has changed. Okay. So, yes, Marco?
Do we have a list of the present and absent members somewhere?
Yes. So in the minutes which were shared, I'm going to share them again.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, first, as Alessandro outlines, you have the registration of the delegates, outlining who is a member and who is already appointed as delegate. And in the minutes themselves, you have the head count.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And then the vote on the motion to postpone the examination of the statute amendments is ready. I'm sending it now in the chat. And I will please ask you to cast your vote on it. Yes, Rahman?
I was just wondering if there's, sorry, I was just wondering if maybe some more concrete clarification was provided, outlining the reasons for the specific motion.
So MAP suggested to postpone the examination of these points until the end of the meeting, because currently we do not have the quorum to validly examine the statutory amendments. We have 15 voting members in the organization. A 2/3 quorum means that we would have 11 members present or represented. But currently in the meeting, we have 9 members who submitted delegate names, and we have 8 members present because the German delegates are currently missing. So 8 is inferior to 11, so we cannot validly examine the statutory motions. The idea here with this motion is to push back the examination while we try to reach out to some of the members to see if they would be willing to come and examine the motions with us.
So essentially, we do not have enough members to initiate voting regarding statute changes, right? But for other matters, that is permissible.
I am sorry, could you repeat your question?
No, I was just asking for clarification if I understood your explanation correctly, namely that we do not have enough members for the quorum to vote on statute changes or statute amendments, but for other matters we can vote, or?
Yes, on other matters we can. The problem is solely with the statutory motions. So give me a second, Mab. You may speak, but I'm reviewing what you said to me.
No, I don't know if it was clear to everyone, but if we don't postpone it to the end of the meeting, or at the end of the meeting, if we don't have the quorum at that time, our statutes will trigger an automatic need for an extra meeting well, a second meeting. It doesn't say exactly when. It can't be within the next 15 minutes. And there must be 8 days notice. And at that meeting, any number of people can decide. We don't need a quorum anymore.
You mean next 15 days, right?
Yes, it cannot take place in the next 15 days, but after that it can take place whenever it's called. And then we don't need any quorum, which means that even with a very small amount of members present, they could vote on all of these proposals. And that is why it might be better to try to get more people here today to make sure that there's a lot of members voting on them than another meeting with just a smaller amount of members present. Unless we're unless we're better at getting more people to show up for that meeting, of course.
Personally,
No, yeah. Go ahead, Sandra.
I would rather take it all today than do another meeting. So if we can get more people present today, that would be better, unless we have more people in the meeting next time, just so we don't have to have two meetings. I would rather just have it all in one meeting.
Yeah, thank you. I also agree. So, unlike what I said before, because I forgot to count our Italian members twice, because we have the Pirate Party of Italy and Pirati. So we are effectively 16 members and not 15, which means that we need 11 members present or represented. This was correct with what I said before. And currently we are missing 3 of them, including the German pirates, which registered for the meeting but seem to be missing. Okay, so going back to the votes, I see the motion has been voted in favor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 unanimously. So I am closing the vote now. And we will proceed with the next point of order, which is the Treasurer report. The Treasurer report, for convenience, I am going to send it into the chat. At every council meeting, we have to send a Treasurer report. Here it details what has happened between the previous council meeting and now. It should be fairly clear. If you have questions, do not hesitate. And in the meantime, Alessandro, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, everyone. So just literally just a few things on my end. So basically, as you see, there is not much income apart from the fact that the Party of Catalonia pay the late outstanding fee for last year. And the reason why is that because I haven't sent, the Treasury Office haven't sent yet the invoices. This decision has been made before because we are currently transitioning the bank account. As you should know that the current FIO bank account is blocked and we cannot use the money. So that's why we are registering with the help of the Secretary General and the finance team. We are close to open a new bank account in Luxembourg, and so that we can move the current money from the FIO bank account, the Czech bank account, to the new one. So I think that probably if this will take a bit long, I will send out the invoice anyway, so you will be able to use the previous bank account to pay, because the bank account is not fully blocked, so the money can come in but cannot come out, so because actually the fees should be collected within the year, so, and you have 90 days to pay. Apart from that, all the expenses that you see are anticipated, has been anticipated out of my pocket, and all the invoices, of course, are entitled to the organization. And when we will be able to move the money, probably, so the organization can give me the money back, apart from maybe some of them that I could donate, as I did last year, to the organization. Thank you. Just let me congratulate the Secretary General for help. Yesterday we have this first finance team meeting, and we agreed to have every month a joint meeting with the Treasury Office, and that's a very good idea. So just before the board meeting. So I think that would be very effective, and the organization would speed up again. Thank you, Secretary General, and all the finance team. Thanks.
Thank you, Alessandro. Does anyone in the assembly have a question? Okay, thank you. As there seems to be no question, I consider this point to be closed. And we may now proceed with the next point of order, which is the election of members to the boards. If I may recap the situation, earlier this year, the board was elected anew. In the meantime, 3 board members decided to resign. I'm not sure if they disclosed the reasons why or not, but I will leave that with them. And as a consequence, during this council meeting, 3 board members' spots were opened. We currently have or received 1 nomination in the person of Yelena, who is also present with us. What I am going to do is send back the nomination thread so you can have a look and access Yelena's presentation. As a reminder, Yelena was nominated by Pirati. And now I will then call on Yelena. Would you like to say a few words for persons who did not have time to go through your application?
Of course, I thought there will be no time for speech or presentation, but anyway, I made an effort last night and put an addition to the forum post, a little bit more about my motivation. So I don't know how many of you know, but there is a civil unrest ongoing in Serbia for the past 2 years so far. And it looks like that, unlike when we were active as a pirate party in Serbia, right now the right to peaceful protest has been suspended intermittently. So protests can go peacefully, but very often there are riots in the streets. There is some long range acoustic weapon being used on protesters. And it's very messy anyway. So, because I already had an episode with clashing with police when I was a student, and Serbia already has a long history of liberation of different kind of dictators, and also, I'm sorry to say this, but the long history of corruption scandals. I figured that what can be done by people in the streets is perfectly fine, and I hear the call. They called everyone to do whatever they can in accordance with their abilities or ambitions, and I figure this might be the good time to join pirate movement again, because it's not that I have a lot on my plate. I don't have children. I do have nice remote job, and basically I go to fitness and theater and shopping, and that's it. So anyway, I cannot be anything else than pirate, but I think should be disclosed. I have been helping some parliamentary parties and parties that are out of parliament right now. They are all opposition parties, and one is progressive. The name is Akcija Progresivne Vojvodine, or Action of Progressive Vojvodina. The other one is Zeleno-Levi Front, or Green Left Front, which I think is represented in the European Parliament in some way. So I did try to help, but they are far away from the model of European party that I am used to have around. And I would appreciate if I can rejoin nice people just to reset my mind and to see what can be done for everyone else here. Thank you. Oh, I'm gonna turn off my mic. Feel free if you have any questions. Feel free to shoot.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Indeed, if you have any questions, now will be the time. Yes, Henrik.
No, I'm just curious because I have some, albeit limited, understanding on what's going on in Serbia right now, and just so I know, uh, to contextualize it, this is the unrest you're speaking of. It's basically the general, and from what I have learned, very legitimate discontent with the regime of Alexander Vukic.
Yes, definitely. Yes, it all started with the canopy clash on a train
Yeah,
station, railway station in
yeah,
Novi Sad. And at that point, I think everyone realized that the corruption is not only about money, corruption is actually taking lives. They do take
yeah,
lives in Serbia. So it's kind of unforgivable for the people of Novi Sad. And students started it first. The students of university students in Novi Sad started the protests, and they spread all over the country within the next 2 or 3 months. So ever since then, the protests have been ongoing quite regularly, and there has been a lot of incidents. So the cases of torture, using long-range acoustic weapons as well, the cases of people being kidnapped in supermarket under the charge of like, oh, we are just catching pedophile, and turns out they are like the paramilitary parapolice forces basically, that are taking an activist basically with them to break his glasses, and even to offer him some small money as an extra, as a refund for the damage, and in order to keep him silent. So like the things are actually, the events are so hard to understand for someone who is not from Serbia. But anyway, the protests are legitimate. Right now in the streets are all the university students, of course, except those whose parents are participating in the regime, because the regime likes to retaliate. So those people get fired quite easily and quite quickly from the municipality government, or from the police, or from the military. Regime retaliates. So I think only the daycare is not on the street. Literally, like the primary schools, the high schools, the university students, all their teachers, professors. Academia is leading this change as well. There
Yeah.
are also some non-partisan groups that are advocating for change. So there is a lot of people on one side, and there is like gerrymandered majority on the side of the regime. So it's the matter of time. I think it can take years. It can also be quite quick, as soon as the next year, because we have regular elections coming. So protests are legitimate. It's not the first time we are having them. This is going to sound painful, what I'm going to say, but basically, some people in some countries, they serve a life sentence for the time we spend in Serbia fighting some dictators, right? So basically, it's been 30 years of constant ongoing revolution, demands, changes, and this regime likes to vote for, I think, 130 laws for one day. So the changes have been passed quite quickly without any public debate. And I think this is my speaker. Sorry about this. I'm gonna turn it off. So yes, they are very legitimate, but we're not hopeless. I think everyone is absolutely aware that it's a matter of time. I think the country, it might be getting ready to somehow arrest the government, like the last time, right? Because they won't arrest themselves. But as a Pirate Party member, I don't know too much about it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your question and your answer. Anyone else would like to fill the question? I
I would
think
like
the
to
question,
encourage you, if you
yes.
have any questions, feel free to ask, because I'm really, really happy to share finally among friends whatever I feel is necessary. So yes, please feel free to ask me.
Okay, thanks again for candidating. I suppose the time of questions is over. And I will please ask the delegates to get ready and vote. I am double checking what I prepared. The thread is now opened and I am sending it in the chat. Okay, every vote is in and it is unanimous. Yelena received all the votes possible and is nominated and elected as a board member. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
The next point of order would be section 5 with other motions. We have 2 points in there. The first one being a mandate for collaborations on the European level, also updating the common pirate strategy. As a reminder, the common pirate strategy was a text adopted by the Council ahead of the previous European elections, outlining how the pirates and the pirate delegation in the parliament would strategize and cooperate with other forces. Here, if I can briefly introduce the subject before leaving the details to Mab, who will be able to speak about it further. We are at a very particular time in the European politics cycle, which is the half mandate negotiations. People and forces are negotiating among themselves in view of gaining or like rearranging their coalitions to try and get some more resources at the European level. For example, this can be in the parliament some specific seats, and I will leave Mab to introduce the text in more detail. If you are ready.
Yes, I just needed to find the button to unmute. Thank you. So, as you know, the board has, to some extent, a mandate to negotiate with external partners, but to show that we are actively encouraging that, they would need this mandate, and that will then mandate me to do some more active hunting for different ways to collaborate. So that would be one part. We've been approached by different parties in the European Parliament, but also on the European level, to explore different ways of collaborations. And at the end of the day, it's mainly to access different kind of resources that we can get from collaborating with them. So that would be the reason of that mandate. Now, the Common Pirate Strategy is a very specific form of collaboration. So when we adopted this in 2023, we considered that we would have a lot of pirates elected, and then we wanted to have a Common Pirate Strategy that would allow them to incorporate one or two others into their delegation if needed. Now, the outcome is that we have one pirate elected, and that means that the Common Pirate Strategy is still in effect. It still governs Marketa's work in the European Parliament, but it was never written for the situation where we have only one pirate elected. And that means that if we were to invite other people into the pirate delegation, Marketa would automatically be either half or the minority, depending on how many people we invited. And having the current pirate strategy would then not be the best tool. It is also imposing a lot of rules on all the members of that delegation, which makes it difficult to encourage people to join. So in communication with Marketa's office, we've drafted a proposal to change it. All the rules that we currently have would still apply, or more or less all of them would still apply to the pirate members of the pirate delegation, but we wouldn't extend it to non-pirate members to make it more appealing for others to join. And the reason we want people to join is that would give Marketa more resources and more power within the European Parliament. Of course, before anyone can join, they would need to be invited by and accepted by Marketa and assessed by the board. So it's not that we open the door for anyone who wants. but we're basically making the common party strategy more flexible and adapted to the reality of the current situation. And if you have questions on any of the specific lines, I'm happy to answer them as well. Thank you.
Thank you for the breakdown. I will maybe leave a little bit of time for you to be able to read through the proposal again. I would like to make it clear that you have two separate texts. One is the clean version, so it will be effectively what we would vote on to adopt. And the second text is simply the version tracking all the changes to try and make all the updating transparent. So I will give you a bit of time to read through it. And please raise your hand if you have a remark, a question. And we say hello to the little pirate we can see on camera.
Hello, little pirate.
All right. Please let me know if you have any question about the common pirate strategy. If not, I would bring your attention to a separate decision to be taken on this subject, which is a mandate for collaboration. If you look into the thread, under proposal, you have A, amending and updating the common patch strategy. And at the bottom of the thread, you have B, the Council of the European Power Party encourages the board to explore collaborations with external allies. This is less specific about the Parrot delegation in the Parliament, and it's more about the organization as a whole to be able to explore partnerships in view of having more resources or influence. To this extent, there have already been preliminary discussions with Volt and EFA about how we can best cooperate and gain resources at the European level. Just want to make sure that it is understood that there are two separate decisions to be taken here. First, about updating the CPS, outlining how the pirates in the parliament operate. And then B, in view of these mid-mandate negotiations, giving the board a mandate about collaborating at the European level, like exploring collaborations to start with, because of course, any formal decision to go into a partnership will go back before the council for approval. Would you guys have any question on either the CPS of this second proposal of a negotiating mandate? Yes, Raman?
I do have a question about the revisions to the CPS, namely point number 5, which states, or which has been now revised and states, the pirate delegation shall abide by the relationship agreement between the European Pirates and the Green CFA Group. Should the relationship agreement be terminated by either side, the delegation shall seek advice from the board of the European Pirate Party regarding what group to join. Does that mean that if a pirate delegation of MEPs would actually decide to join a certain group, uh, they would have to seek advice from the board, but this would not be binding. So essentially, they could just unanimously decide on their own who to join, and the European pirates would actually not have any enforceable influence on this decision.
So yeah, Mab, you can go ahead.
Sorry, was this a change? Because that sounded like the current text. I don't think we've changed that, but I will answer it anyways. So the political groups are joined by individual members of the European Parliament. So legally, we have no way of enforcing anything with our pirate delegation. This is written to say that they need our input. But at the end of the day, if they decide to go wherever, they decide to go wherever. There's nothing we can write in any text here that will change that. This is the strongest control that we thought would be possible to put in text.
Yes, so indeed, it is already present on the current text. And as said, there's no way of coercing a member into doing what we want, but because we are a unified movement, of course, the influences go every way possible, and there will be coordination to some extent. As a small point of order, I see now that we have Dennis Kluwer from the German Pirates who joined the meeting. and the Luxembourgish votes have been delegated to the Swedish delegate. So we need to make sure that the minutes reflect this.
I think it's that Henrik will have the Luxembourg delegates and
Yes.
I will represent the Swedish.
Yeah, correct. Are there any other questions surrounding the CPS and this negotiation mandate? I suppose not, given the silence, and I will then prepare the voting thread about the updating of the CPS. The thread is now ready. I'm sending it into the chat.
Are there one or two voting threads?
Here, for this common parrot strategy, you have one voting thread, and then the decision about giving the board a mandate for negotiation will be separate. So what was sent in the chat now concerns only the common parrot strategy, which is the text governing how the parrot delegation operates in the European Parliament. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, every vote is in, and it is a unanimous yes. I am closing the thread now. And before we decide on the second part of the proposal, which is about giving the board a mandate to negotiate agreements, does anyone have a question surrounding this? Okay, I suppose we can then proceed. Let me double check the thread I'm preparing. And I am now sending the thread in the chat. Okay, in the meantime, does someone have a remark about this point or a question to be floored? If I may extend a little bit further, because there has been already some bits of discussion into the thread ahead of the meeting, the current logo would still be considered valid, but the proposal would allow more flexibility if we would like to have specific branding for some campaigns. So it was already a little bit of time ago, but if we want to, in the future, do some merch or campaigning around the Pride months or stuff like this would allow us to edit a specific logo for these campaigns. I will leave a bit more of time, but if there is no question. Yes, Mab, welcome back.
I'll put on the camera. Yes, sorry. I just wanted to add that in the work plan for this year, our communications team in the Secretariat has as one of their tasks to do an update on our visual identity. And when we've been looking at that in the Secretariat, we realized that the logo as it is quite limiting because it has 3 different colors, it has a specific font and so on. So it would restrict our visual identity to keep it as it is. And having this a new proposal would create the flexibility that would allow us to have professionals do a updated visual identity that can then be rolled out over the organization. So it would be very helpful for the Secretariat to fulfill the tasks that the Council have given us in the work plan for the year to adopt this change.
Thank you for the precision. Any questions following this intervention? Okay, so then please allow me some time to prepare the threads in which we will formally decide on the proposal. It is ready, and I'm sending the link now in the chat. Okay, thank you everyone. So I am closing the thread. We have 2 abstentions, 2 votes against, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13 in favor. So the motion is adopted. And let's double check how many members we have present and represented. So I count 10 members present or represented because we were 8. The Germans came back in the person of Dennis, and the Luxembourgish pirates delegated their vote to Henrik from the Swedish pirates. So from 8 to 10, and to reach the quorum of 11 to examine the statute amendments, we would still need 1 more member. As a consequence, I think now would be the time to call for a lunch break and a regular break for everyone who has already had food, while we make sure to have the quorum in the back stages. What I would do is, what time is it? Is convene everyone back at 1:30 CEST. No, that's maybe a bit too short. Maybe we can say at 2 p.m. Yeah, 2 p.m. might be good. And unless someone has an objection, I think this is what we will go with, sorry. Okay, thank you for the notice, Keith. And thank you for being with us. I then declare the session suspended for a lunch break, and we are meeting back here at 2 p.m. Central European Summer Time.
I will address Yehu's question. Yehu, you can't address delegated to YPE. You need 1 person, but you can take 1 of them and you can write in the channel. Just check with them that it's okay. For everyone who's not rushing off to lunch, I have another 10 minutes before my intermittent fasting allows me to eat. So if anyone has any questions about the Secretariat of the European Pirates, I'm super happy to answer those questions right now. And for everyone else who's discreetly disappearing for lunch, well, I'll see you back at 2. But since the meeting is adjourned, I'll stick around to answer questions for a bit. And as Alessandro said, if you can't get back, make sure to delegate your vote to someone. No delegate can have more than, no person can represent more than 2 parties. That is very important to remember. And you need to put the delegation to an individual, not to an organization. Anyways, I hope you'll have a great lunch. And I thought I would start a little bit by talking about the Secretariat, because I don't know how much you all know about it. But last year, in their infinite wisdom, the board at that point decided to create a Secretariat of Volunteers. So a lot of the work that had previously been done ad hoc or by the board or hadn't been done at all is now in the hands of the Secretariat. We also do a lot of the work that was previously done by the team surrounding our members of the European Parliament, because last mandate we had 4 MEPs, which meant that we had roughly 20 people working in the European Parliament. Some of them, including myself, spent some of their working time helping the European Pirates in different capacities. And now when there's only one member of the European Parliament and she's trying to fill the shoes of all of those 4 in the legislative work, her team don't really have the same capacity to help on the European level. So we created a Secretary General, I was appointed, and then I drafted team leaders. And together with them, we've now recruited volunteers. We're currently around 60 volunteers and growing. The aim is to be 100 by the end of the year. Most, but not all of the volunteers are recruited from outside of our member parties. And that is primarily not to create a brain drain. We don't want to take the few people that are active in a small party and have them do work on the European level. It's much better to get people who sympathize with us, but haven't considered being a member of a party themselves, or come from a country where there is no pirate party to work with us on the European level. And my aim is to do as little as possible myself, because that is always how you build a good organization. So I have a management team with team leaders for the different teams. We have a communication team, outreach team, HR team, IT team, policy team, and finance team. And my experience so far is that there has never been a moment where all 6 teams have been working, because there's always a team leader who goes missing or something that breaks down. So some of the teams have been very successful and others are still a bit of a challenge, but we're getting there. There's also, whenever we change the team leader, there's a little bit of adaptation time to get the new person up and running. But I saw that Dennis asked what campaign the board is currently planning. The board isn't planning any campaigns currently. That is not in the work plan for the year, but the aim is to have a secretariat this year that would be able to plan and execute campaigns, but we're not really there. But I hope you all noticed that the board endorsed at their last meeting the Stop Killing the Internet campaign, which is a campaign run by activists, a lot of them tied to the Stop Killing Games movement. That is why they come closeness in names. So the Secretariat is now, since the board has endorsed this, working closely with them. So we have people in the organization team of that campaign, and we will promote this as much as possible, because of course, if you haven't seen the Stop Killing the Internet, I'll post a link, but it's a fight against age verification and control of the net. It's basically there. Okay, what is the return of investment for your teams? Well, that would have to be assessed at the end of the year. I mean, the investment is a lot of free time, and the return is that we have done, I think, between 4 and 6 consultation answers to commission consultations. That is exactly that many more than we've ever done before, because the organization has never been capable of doing it in the past. We have updated our average publication on the webpage from 1 text every 3rd month to between 1 and 2 texts a week. We haven't really been able to create a presence on social media beyond posting about our texts, but we have now regular posts on social media. Whenever we publish on the web, they will also be shared on social media to remind people that we have not been successful with the finance team very much. They just now got a new team leader that seems to be capable of doing things. But we still struggle to move the bank to a Luxembourgish bank account, mainly because of problems with registration in Luxembourg, but also because the bank we approached is a bit hesitant to take us on board because we don't have any legal representative currently residing in Luxembourg. So we are exploring other options, and as soon as we have the bank up and running, we will have our crowdfunding up and running as well. We have some people working on that in the finance team. But the aim there is, of course, that we should raise more money through crowdfunding than we raise through our membership fees, so that we're not relying on the membership fees to fund our activities. And once that is happening, we will be able to do way more things, because then we can use crowdfund for whatever we want. On the outreach side of things, I want to really emphasize our collaboration with Stop Killing Games. They've been a really good partner with us. We are organizing, and also Pirate Parties International. So for the first time ever, the European Pirates are helping Pirate Parties International to organize the Think Twice conference. It will take place 17th of October in Brussels this year. I think we just signed, well, we didn't. So we are collaborating with the Pirate Parties International for the event. And then we're collaborating with the Stop Killing Games with an event they organize directly after, so that we can use their venue. So we're basically, we're helping them with the legwork, and they are providing us with a venue so that we can organize this conference in Brussels in October, sorry, 17th of October, without having to invest tons of our own money in the venue. So that will be, for those who you haven't seen it on our webpage, a conference called Think Twice together with PPI on AI and governance. And directly after that, Stop Killing Games is organizing a conference on Play Fair in the Digital Fairness Act, basically how to ensure game preservation and cultural digital preservation in general in the Digital Fairness Act. They are looking to collaborate with the Internet Archives, with the library movements and so on. So people that we are close with, but who are more comfortable collaborating with an NGO than with a political party. And then they will have a gala in the evening where they will promote their movement and probably also talk a lot about Stop Killing the Internet, which is, of course, once again, very helpful for us. So this is one of the things from the outreach team. I might have missed some of the teams. I mean, HR and IT do things that are not really visible from the outside, but they've created, basically, IT has taken over a lot of the services that were previously provided by Denk Selbst. And now we have an in-house IT team. And the benefit is that that means that the knowledge is tied to the organization and not to an external actor, even if it has been some learning process to take it overall in-house. I think they've done quite a great job of doing that. We have a tool called Outline now for documentation, which means that our internal documentation and also the board's internal documentation is way better than it has ever been before. Our HR team is creating processes for onboarding and offboarding, and they've been helpful in recruiting all of these volunteers. So the HR and IT, you might not see the output of their work, but the rest would not be able to do what they do without the work the IT puts in. Okay, that was a brief introduction of all the teams and the work we've done so far. Is there any other questions? Well, if you have any other questions, feel free to write them in the chat and I'll respond to them after I've had my lunch. But now it's 1 o'clock, so now I'm allowed to eat. So I will discreetly turn off my camera and I will go and have some lunch. And I'll see you all back at 2 o'clock. Have a great lunch.
Hello again and welcome back. It should be 2 p.m. sharp. So I will declare the meeting to be resumed at 2 p.m. and we will start back slowly. I'm sending in the chat the remainder of the agenda, which is the statutory amendments. And I'm going to suggest a way to proceed regarding all of those. We will first take a moment here to consider the agenda itself and see if the Council would prefer to sort out what should be decided or examined upon right now, or if some of the items should be already postponed to later. This is up for debate and this is your decision. We can of course go one by one, but that may be more time consuming than considering the whole of them and deciding precisely which ones we should tackle right now and which ones might be better placed in a later meeting. While I will leave you to consider this question. Yes, thank you, Aeolus. So while you consider this question, I will take some time along with the minute takers to double check who is still present with us in the conference.
Present here for Luxembourg primarily, and Sweden when Sandra is not present.
Yes,
Yeah, thank you for helping.
Florian?
Yeah, you may speak, Marco.
Yeah, Pirati would like to propose a motion to postpone the discussion of some of the motions, actually, some of the amendment. I
Okay.
propose this motion in this thread. And of course, I'm available to modify them because it's like an extemporary motion so that other members can input that. And if you let me explain where this comes from, yeah, I can explain where this position, well, I wrote where my position comes from in the motion itself. But if it's not enough, I can give a better explanation by voice. I kept it very synthetic in my motion.
Yes, so thank you for the proposal. Maybe you can give your reasoning by voice quickly before we discuss the motion a bit more in depth.
Yeah, the issue that I see with in general with these motions is that they come after a huge overhaul of the status that we did in earlier this year. Now, it's not like we didn't overhaul completely the organization, but we still are somehow working on the status following that change. So I'm afraid that introducing more groundbreaking changes would create more problems that it solves. Some of these motions, for example, the one about the second chamber, in my opinion, require more preparations. Like probably we should first set up a communication channel between the individuals that would be put in the second chamber, for example. And the one about the stricter requirement for members, in my opinion, need to consider the fact that different countries in the EU have different definitions for what a political party is. Like, as I said many times, for example, in Italy, even entities that are not political parties or that are not in the register of political parties can participate in elections. Traditionally, all parties used to be free citizens associations. Both Pirati and the Para Party of Italy are associations and can participate in the election because in the statutes that's specified. And the register of political parties in Italy is basically used for funding of parties through various mechanisms. So it's more a transparency register than a register of those who are allowed to participate in the election. Of course, I'm not sure of what are the requirements in all the European countries, but yeah, I believe that right now it would be too strict, especially following the change that we did to follow the Luxembourgish law, and the fact that it's not an immediate requirement that we switch to European, let's say, to the stricter requirement of an European party. It's in any case something that we don't need to do now.
Okay, thank you for clarifying all of this. Is it clear for everyone what is proposed by Marco here on behalf of Pirati?
I have a quick question, if you may. Which motions have you not included, and why are they not included in the delay?
The motions that are not included are the motion 5 and 6 because they follow the pattern of the motion that was put forward by the board, which is that they are more or less adjustment to the current statutes. So we can discuss them right now. While the other ones are more either structural changes or changes that will put additional burden on the members.
Am I correct in interpreting that you also didn't include the statute proposal from the board? And what about the statute proposal from the Czech pirates?
So
because those are not numbered.
No, so the one from the Czech pirates, let's say that we can have a discussion on that and I express my opinion on that, but still it's not a structural change. And the one from the board is not purposely included because again is another one of those adjustments that I believe are relatively small. So what I didn't include are status changes because let's notice this is not about a motion to postpone changes that I don't agree with. These are changes, the ones that I included are the ones that I think have a huge impact and that needs to be considered carefully and probably be worded in another way. The ones that I didn't include in this, which is the Czech one, the one from the board, and the 5 and 6 from the German parties, are changes that are adjustment to the current statutes and have a relative impact. Of course, they are status amendments, so they will have an impact. For example, the Czech motion that will change how the candidacy works. But still, it's not a structural change. I mean, if we choose wrong, that will not have, we can adjust the course. It's not something that will create a mess.
Okay, thank you for this. So in your thread, I'm also suggesting phrasing of the motion which could be decided upon. And in the meantime, if someone else has a question or a remark, yes, Henrik?
I'm going to propose, well, a similar suggestion. I do it in the same thread. It's linked here. And I'm posting it now. Basically, my motivations are very similar to what Marco have already said. I believe many of these statute changes will have a significant impact. And I also believe from past experience with statutory change, primarily at national, but also a little bit on European level, um, that 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 it might be better to sort of, well, actually no, more precisely, it causes less fragmentation to defer um, these discussions to to create a committee for working through these things, so that you get you get a more uh, coherent you get a more coherent new statutes and less much less risk for contradictory pieces and incidents like that. Um, here is my my alternative suggestion is now posted in full in the thread. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I am outlining what is your suggestion impact as well, just to make it clear what is postponed and what is not. And now back to you, Marco.
Yeah, I like absolutely the wording of the proposal and by Henrik. I would just like to add, if unless we think that it's implicit that the council mandates the board to uh, perform the required action.
So you mean that you like the outline?
Yeah,
of,
I like the outline of that Henrik put, and but I would suggest that we mandate someone to actually set up this this committee, and that someone is the board. Sorry, guys, we give you more work to do.
In the actual proposal, if I may, it is actually suggested that it should be coordinated by the Secretariat and be separate from the board. But I'm very happy for the board to take it as well. I don't need to.
Okay. No, it's okay also, the secretary. It's just to make sure that someone will do it.
No, it works like Marco. It will work like that. The council meeting will tasks the board, and the board tasks the secretariat. And,
okay.
and MAB tasks someone else. That's how it works.
Okay, so until it comes to someone that cannot task someone else and has to do the job. Okay, very Italian, I would say.
Okay, so going back on the proposals, we currently have two competing motions. Marco, would you like to maintain your motion?
Since this one is more complete and I think it's worded better, I will retire my motion in favor of Henrik's.
Okay, so currently the only motion on the table is Henrik's. Following what Raman is saying in the chat, would someone prefer for the board to be delegated with a task? Should a motion in this sense be added? The funny thing, if I may, is that even if it is delegated to the board, maybe the board can delegate it further to the secretariat for the admin part at least, because the secretariat is an extension of the board to some extent. But yes, Raman, would you like to formally call for a similar motion, but a motion which delegates the task to the board?
Yes, that is acceptable for me. And I think, as you mentioned, it also provides bigger flexibility because the board can delegate some parts further if they want to the secretariat, but it also allows them to handle some parts themselves. And I think this creates greater flexibility.
Okay, noted. So we have a second motion. Thank you, Raman. Considering this, Henrik, do you still maintain your motion with a difference of delegating it to the secretariat?
No, I think basically delegating it to the board, who can then delegate the whole or parts of it to the secretariat, might work fine. So I can accept such an alteration.
Okay, thank you. So then we are left with only Raman's motion. To make sure that we are all on the same page, I will add to the thread the final motion we are currently discussing and outline the change of ownership, so we are very clear on what we are deciding. Okay, so here I change this. This and this should be fine. Okay, so now in the very last message, you should have the updated rephrasing, which is along the lines of what you suggest, Mab. Is that satisfactory to you, Raman?
Yes, indeed.
Great. Then, unless there is a last-minute remark or further debates, I'm going to prepare the voting thread.
I just want to ask one question. Henrik, did you have the possibility to read the last version that was posted by Florian with all the changes that we discussed? And are you okay with that?
Let me see. I think so, but let me have another look.
For the record, I am okay with them. So
Yeah, the changes are basically the yellow parts, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm perfectly okay with them.
Great. So this is
the only thing that I have is that in the introduction there is written, to ensure that the committee works efficiently and independently from the board, we suggest that it should be managed by the secretariat. But then the proposal said be coordinated by the board with the help of the secretariat.
Yeah. That's a good catch. Maybe those contradict each other. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, I should modify them again. So I'm going to remove the phrase altogether. Okay, this is on.
But please mark the mark the change in yellow so that we know that it's
Yeah, okay, you still want them in yellow, okay. Here. And then about the voting here. Okay, so the thread is up now. I'm sending the link in the chat, and the changes are still highlighted. Okay, so we have I believe we are missing the vote for the Swedish pirates.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to click on something.
No problem.
Well, it's too late now, but I noticed that we wrote the General Assembly, not the council meeting.
Yeah, correct. Are you still facing troubles, Sandra?
No, I already sent it.
Yeah, I'm sending it again in the chat. Should be the last link you see.
Her vote is there.
Maybe it was an old link, or
Potentially, yes.
Yeah, you wrote in the thread of the proposal.
sorry. It should be there now.
Well, I still cannot see it. Something strange is happening, it seems.
Okay.
But if you authorize me to move the vote you put in the discussion back into the vote, I can do that.
I can send it again. Oh, and enter. Oh, I see what. But it's too similar to. Oh, it's just because it looks like the same as before, so it's not letting me post it. But now
Oh,
I added some
yes,
new
I have it.
characters. Yes, now I added some new characters because it had an error because it was similar to previous.
Message. Yeah, okay, I get it. All good. So we have all votes in, and save for a few abstentions. The motion is adopted. We will then proceed to the last motion of the session until the board gets back to work. And that would be motion 2.2a. Relative to updating the statutes and the provision in case of liquidation. So this should be quite straightforward. I'm still sending it into the chat for reference. And in a nutshell, when submitting the updated statutes following the 20th Council meeting, the Luxembourgish authorities flagged what is an alleged illegal disposition in our statutes and the dissolution liquidation provisions. Basically, in case of liquidation, the funds and assets of the association cannot go to its members. So the phrasing here specifically of paragraph 7 makes it extremely clear that the assets in case of liquidation must be allocated to a non-profit purpose and cannot be divided among the members. And also writing down in full what the law suggests, but the assets must be assigned to another association or to a foundation headquartered either in the EU or the European Free Trade Association. Hopefully this is clear for everyone what we would vote on. Are there any questions? It doesn't seem to be the case, so then I would ask you to move on to formal voting. As a reminder, because we are 16 members in the organization, we would need 11 members to be present or represented, which is currently the case, but we will make sure to double check the votes to make sure the decision is valid.
There seems to be a grammatical error.
Yes.
So they may not be divided among the members parties. That's there should be member parties or members.
Okay.
It's just pluralization.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for the remark. In the decision, it says that the board is allowed to perform linguistic corrections. So I'm making sure to write this down, but it doesn't have an impact on the decision itself. But thank you for flagging it. So it's member parties or simply members. Then the voting thread is reopened and ready. And I send the link into the chat.
Does the text contain Union, European Union? Or is it?
Yes, it context member state of the Union European indeed, and Union European Union. So yeah, another mistake to fix. So we are still awaiting the votes from the Swiss, French, Luxembourgish, and Slovakian pirates.
Sorry, I had to attend to something. Give me a moment.
No problem, we are waiting for you. Thank you for your votes. Okay, I will be looking into it, Miroslav. Give me 1 second. I will get back to you and give you the go. Okay, Miroslav, you should now be able to vote by refreshing the page.
Yeah, I will try. Okay, then.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So we have all votes in and cast with unanimous yes, save for several abstentions. Therefore, the motion is considered adopted. Thank you very much. And the next point of order is the closing of the meeting. Does someone would like to take the floor to say a little something, a message to fellow members maybe, or an invitation, announcement? Yes, Sanat? I think you are still muted, Janat. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so then first we will go with Mab.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us all today. And on behalf of the Secretariat, there was a question how to get involved. You can go to our webpage and look that up under Get Involved, and there's a link on how to get active with the Secretariat. Feel free to share it among your members if you feel you have too many members and they can't all be active where you are. But if you have a shortage of active members, don't feel you need to send anyone our way. We're happy to recruit elsewhere. And if you want to know more about the Secretariat, you can reach out to me at any given time. I'm happy to tell you everything. And also, if you have any questions, don't feel free to hang around after the meeting is officially over and ask me anything you want about the Secretariat again after the meeting has finished. Thank you.
Okay, I think I've solved my problem. Can you hear me maybe?
Yes, we can. You may go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity. I was just listening today as the representative of the Hungarian to the ad hoc party, and even though I had a lot of interesting topics during the day, felt like it's the first time I should rather listen and get familiar with you guys rather than adding anything from my parts. And also, I would like to mention that probably all of you know in which condition we are in right now in Hungary. And I would like to tell you that we are trying to funnel some funds to our party in the next couple of weeks. And if we could get your help by spreading the word in the near future, that would mean a lot to us. And for further informations, I will post Mab, Marietta, and anyone who's interested. But I'm trusting Mab that he will spread the word. What are we doing, and how can you spread the word to help us raise some funds? And also, I'm really looking forward to get a bit more involved with you guys in the future. We are not giving up. We are trying to renew ourselves to get stronger and get better, and also be a bit more international as well. Thank you for this day, and see you soon.
Thanks a lot, Shanad. It's a pleasure to have you here. I would ask every member present to give a little bit of attention to what Map posted in the chat about the current adventures of the Two-Tailed Dog Party. And of course, you can reach out to us anytime by any means so we can help you the best we can.
Thank you very much. And we will let you know if we have the information available. It will be in the next 2 weeks, I'm sure.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I will write it down on my end as well. Would anyone else like to take the floor?
I would like to say thank you from the Swedish Pirate Party.
Thank you, Sandra. And yes, as Alessandro says, we have the tradition of doing a little group picture with the cameras on at the end of the meeting. So my final words would be thank you very much for coming. Please turn your cameras on and we will keep working together for a better European pirate future. And with this, the meeting is closed and on to the picture.
Thank you everyone. Picture made.
Thank you. Everything is done. Thanks again for coming. Maybe little words, Mab, now that the meeting is closed, about the Think Twice conference, which might be a good opportunity to meet each other.
Yes, for those of you who left for lunch, I plugged it already during the lunch. But on the 17th of October, the European Pirates are together with the Pirate Parties International.
eccola qua. Egli è partita che le stacce a solo sono qui su città. Sento fischiare sempre tetti a una plano